I received an interesting and thought-provoking comment on Instagram recently that I just had to take a minute to respond to. The commenter wrote, "My girlfriend's past is a deal breaker. Do you think I should try to work through this?" And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in today's video. My name is Zachary Stockill from RetroactiveJealousy.com, and since 2013 I've been helping men and women from all over the world, every single little corner of this planet of ours, overcome retroactive jealousy, overcome obsessive jealousy, and save their relationships. If you'd like more information about my work or you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. Okay, comment I received on Instagram. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at ZFStockill. Follow me, hit the like button, all that social media nonsense. The commenter wrote, quote, "My girlfriend's past is 100% a deal breaker. Do you think it's worth overcoming retroactive jealousy for her?" End quote. Okay, first off, thanks for your comment. I have a lot to say to this question, a lot to respond with. The first thing I'll say is you are not clear if this is a deal breaker or not. Because if you were clear that this is a deal breaker, you wouldn't be messaging me. You wouldn't be struggling like it sounds like you're struggling. You would have moved on already, because the whole idea of deal breakers is that they're very kind of cut and dry. They're very clear. They don't require a tremendous amount of mental strain. But the trick is you need to know your personal boundaries, you need to know your personal values, and you need to know your personal deal breakers in the first place. So the fact that you're asking me this question, to my mind, says you aren't 100% clear if this is a deal breaker. Because the whole idea of a deal breaker, if we're going to use that language, is it breaks the deal. It's relatively unambiguous. And the fact that you're not clear about that says to me you should give the relationship a little more time. A better question I would pose back to you is it worth challenging your preconceptions? And I think the answer to that is yes. Because again, to my mind, the word deal breaker has a certain clarity and finality to it. It's very cut and dried. And if you're struggling with this question, you may be in a process of unraveling some of your pre-existing notions about women and sex and dating and relationships. To my mind, you're probably a younger person if you're going to write a question like this, and you need more time to sort through these feelings, to sort out your personal boundaries and values before you make a decision like ending the relationship. Another question, is it worth opening up your mind to new perspectives and possibilities? To my mind, the answer to that question is absolutely yes. This is a time for learning. This is a time for unlearning. This is a time to get new clarity and perspective about who you are as a man, what you want out of your woman life, out of your dating life, out of your relationship life. It's time for you to set relationship goals for yourself. But above all, it's time for you to use this opportunity to get to know yourself better. Because once you attain the necessary self-knowledge, questions like this don't become an issue for you anymore, because you know yourself so well, you know what you're willing to tolerate, you know what you're not willing to tolerate, and you're not going to compromise on that. So is it worth challenging your preconceptions? Yes. Is it worth opening up your mind to new possibilities? Yes. But is it worth compromising on your deeply held, non-negotiable relationship boundaries and values? To my mind, the answer to that question is a firm no. People who compromise on their relationship boundaries, on their standards, on things like their personal deal breakers, are some of the most miserable people in the world. People who compromise on who they are and what they truly want out of life, out of love, out of a relationship, these people are often the most miserable people in relationships because they're waiting for their partner to change. They enter a relationship with the idea that, this person's great, but if I can just tweak this one thing, then they'll be perfect. They use the word perfect a lot, like, oh, things will be perfect when X happens. Or I want the perfect relationship. Or she's perfect for me except for X, Y, and Z and all the parade of red flags in her past and in her present behavior. You get the idea. If you watch my channel for a while, you know that the word that I think is the most dangerous for any kind of relationship or dating is the word perfect. Perfection does not exist. However, one thing that definitely does exist is degrees of suitability. And right now, that's what you have to spend the time and figure out. Are your feelings rational or are they not? Did or does your girlfriend compromise or violate your deeply held non-negotiable relationship boundaries and values? I can't answer that question for you because your values are not my values and vice versa. But if you spend the time and ask yourself the right questions, get a bit of outside perspective, eventually you'll arrive at these answers. And trust me, once you do arrive at these answers, it makes your dating life so much easier. Because it becomes very easy to either qualify or in certain cases disqualify certain people when they enter your life. because it becomes clear to you very early on that you're simply not a good fit. Another piece of advice I would offer to you as you work through this question about your girlfriend's past, whether it's something you can live with someday or whether it's something you fundamentally can't, as you work through this question, try to remember to practice empathy, kindness, and respect. Because the whole goal of engaging in introspection, trying to get to know yourself better, trying to discover your relationship boundaries and values, your relationship goals, things like that, the goal of this process when you're with someone is trying to determine fit. You're not trying to determine whether or not your partner's a bad person or whether anyone else is a bad person, or you're not trying to determine whether you're a good person. It's not so much an exercise in trying to determine moral superiority, because what's the point of that? The point is simply about fit. You're trying to see whether or not you'd be a good fit for each other and whether or not you have a relationship future. Above all, I would say don't punish your girlfriend for her past. It's a really bad move. You'll feel guilty about it, if not now, very shortly in the future. And be absolutely clear that it's a deal breaker by your standards before you make the decision to leave. But at the same time, don't put off your decision forever, because you don't want to drag this out forever and hurt your girlfriend unnecessarily, and you also don't want to waste your time or her time. But if you want help sorting out this question, whether you, the comment writer, is watching this or anyone else watching this video, this month I'm celebrating the release of my all-new masterclass for overcoming retroactive jealousy when you have questions about your partner's boundaries, questions about your partner's values, and you wonder whether or not their past is actually a deal breaker or not. My new masterclass is called The Path to Peace. It has more than 2.5 hours of all new exclusive content, exclusive exercises you won't find anywhere else, not in my other online courses, not in this YouTube channel. If you are struggling with your partner's past values, if you have serious questions about the future of your relationship, whether or not she shares your values, whether or not he shares your values, if that sounds like you, I hope you'll take a minute to check out my new masterclass, The Path to Peace, and you can click a link in the description for all the details. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for following along today. If you got anything out of this video, please take a minute to let me know by clicking the like button below. I'll also ask you to please subscribe to my channel to be notified of future videos when they come out. And also please hit the silly like button as well, because apparently YouTube likes that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.